Chuck, the round mounder rebound, and Shaq Diesel has called KD a failure. Has called
Like,
Kevin
top
Durant.
of the day,
Yeah,
boy.
look at that. That fast and Kevin Durant already calling. His name so freaking fast on the internet. I'm serious. That dude could be a dead sleep and someone could type in KD on the internet and he'd be like, I gotta respond to this.
Hey, that was perfect. I like that. That was perfect, though. That was
No,
perfect.
that was
This
somebody
man.
else. It wasn't him.
Hell nah. I think Chuck said something earlier on, and I think Shaq just doubled down on it on his podcast. But because of course we all know earlier in the year that Chuck had called KD a bus rider from when
He
the
wasn't
years
a bus driver.
Yeah, he wasn't the bus driver. He was a bus rider because of the years when he was with the Warriors, and he won his 2 championships. Because they pretty much saying outside of his tenure with the Warriors, what has KD done? And honestly, I completely agree. I mean, what has he done? I mean, the man had a 3-1 lead over the Golden State, couldn't get it done, and he's supposed to be the best player in the world. Why couldn't you get it done if you're supposed to be the best player in the world? And like I said, other than the fact that he won his 2 championships with Golden State, was that 2016 to 2019?
Yeah.
What really has KD done other than maybe mess up every team he's gone to up, because of his drama that follows him? I mean, after he left OKC, it's just been nothing but hell. I mean, yeah, of course, he went to Warriors, got his 2 titles, bus rider, whatever. But after that, he went to Brooklyn. What's been all happening in Brooklyn? I mean, you can blame some of that on Kyrie at the same time, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you are, as the world says, well, LeBron gets bashed for this all the time for being the leader and all this, but he takes on that responsibility. That's what I'm trying to say. And KD does not take on that responsibility. So, in my opinion, you can't be the best player if you can't take on that responsibility of being a leader and taking all that the criticism that comes with it. So, I completely agree. Like I everything that they said, I could read y'all quotes after y'all go, but everything that they were saying about KD's career, I feel like it's absolutely correct. So, y'all go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
Before I get on KD, I will say that to this point now, Oklahoma City Thunder have been a failure because we're in season 15 now. It's time to win that first ring. And the fact that we don't have one, like we're not a new team anymore. So OKC has pressure on itself. But
I mean, but y'all been going through a lot of stuff throughout the years, you know what I'm saying? So I can't really, say that, OKC's urgency to win a title because of just all the things that y'all have happened over the years.
I mean, obviously the actual team is in a rebuild, but I'm just saying as a team, like 15 years is okay. You should have one by now. So
I get it.
But to Kevin Durant, man. So there is a lot of pressure on guys who come into the league and how do you say, like, they're told they're the guy. Zion Williamson, you're the guy, right? Like Giannis allowed to grow and become who he is. Jokic allowed to grow and become who he is, right? But when you're LeBron, when you're Kevin Durant, when you're Zion Williamson, and you're told you are the man, like, that's when there's a ton of pressure. Even Jordan at his height, we saw him retire twice at his height. A lot of greats do this, whatever. They go through certain things. So I will say, like, putting all of what we put on Kevin Durant coming in compared to what he has accomplished, I would say, yes, it's a failure. For what we put on his name, it's a failure.
Don't say
Now, for Kevin Durant, he's made it clear, I'm rich. He's that Cam Newton line. I'm rich. I don't care. I'm rich. I think Dame Dollars used it a few times. A lot of guys have used this line, right? And there's this whole thing that, like, because my career is the high-paying thing at this time of world history, right? Because think about it, man. 100 years ago, and maybe 100 years from now, basketball might not be it wasn't the thing. There's something else was higher paying. But right now, basketball is the thing. And so because he happens to be good at the thing that happens to be the highest paid thing right now, they think that makes them greatness. without achieving anything that they had the potential to achieve. This guy is, I believe, the most talented player to ever play the game offensively. You could argue he's second behind Michael Jordan. That's fair. I have no problem with that. I think Michael Jordan was, more gifted in other ways too. But I think offensively, this most. So based on that, yes, I think that his accolades are a failure. Like there's no getting around it. This guy, the only 2 championships he won. This man can't win a series. Can't win a tough series with as the guy. Like anytime there's a tough series and he has to be the guy, he's not the guy. Now he's won some series and he's been good in them and whatever, but he's never been great in a series where he is the guy.
He ain't never been LeBron.
Right. Whenever the pressure's on for him to be the guy, like he's either good. The only time he's great, all-time great, is when he knows he can't lose. Oh, I got Steph. I got Clay. Steph is drawing double teams before he even crosses half court. I got this. And then he criticizes OKC for the reason he left is because they ain't putting no shooters around him. Go look at that 3-1 finals where he was up 3-1 and lost. He shot the team worst, unless you count Andre Roberson or Steve Adams. He shot the team worst from 3-point range in that series. What are you talking about? No one else around you could shoot. You didn't shoot. Like you were the worst, not bottom. No, like near the bottom. No, you were the worst. So his criticisms of OKC are all things that he did. So I just. Yeah, I will say Westbrook lost that first finals against Miami. However, I don't think they had stood a chance against that Miami team. They were just poised to win.
Yeah.
OKC failed by letting James Harden go. So I'll say Westbrook could be partially blamed for that first finals. OKC for letting James Harden go. But that 3-1 series against Golden State, and by the way, I don't think that LeBron could have beat us in that finals. That's a personal opinion. I don't think he could have. I think it took a lot for him to come down to 3-1 against Golden State, a team that we were up 3-1 against. But that series was lost by Kevin Durant. He lost that series. So, yeah, I would say like when he is in charge, it's his team. He built the Nets. He got to pick what he wanted, and to split town without even giving them a conference championship. Like, that's ridiculous. No, it's definitely, for me, his accolades are a failure. But sure, if you want to count getting rich and arguing with teenagers on Twitter, then yes, he's very successful.
Now, I only will disagree with you on the part that you saying that I think he said he didn't have shooters or he had shooters. No, I think you said he had shooters. But he honestly, I don't think he really that. I'm looking at the roster right now. The only shooters that they have on that team really is KD, maybe Waiters, and Anthony Morrow, and maybe Singlet, maybe. But I mean, honestly, other than KD, they really didn't have any other shooters, honestly. But I mean, that's still not an excuse because of the fact that, again, you were up on that team 3-1, and KD was. I want to say KD and Russ was carrying them throughout them first. I want to say 2 to 3 games that they were when they went up. I'd say 3-1, and I don't know what happened after that. Them three games, and then I don't know. Russ became a turnover machine, and like John was just saying, KD started.
KD stopped looking for his shot. He stopped looking for a shot. And there were multiple times he would come down the court, and wherever he caught the ball, that's where he'd shoot from. He didn't care. He wanted out. For whatever reason, he wanted out. Even in the wins, you could tell he didn't like playing with Westbrook. Even when they won, he didn't like playing with Westbrook. So he would come down the court. If he caught it, he would just shoot it. He wouldn't work to get into his spot. He wouldn't attack the rim. There were multiple times where he just told Westbrook, get over here, and just handed him the ball and then just stood there and let Westbrook go to work. And then they wondered why Westbrook's turnovers kept going high. Westbrook didn't ball hog that series. What KD forced Westbrook to be like, here, this is your team. Go ahead, take it. And I'm not doing it. The man didn't take 30 shots twice all season and took 30 shots 5 times in that series.
Mm.
So there's no excuse that he didn't get enough shots. He shot, man. He shot and he shot and he shot, and he was bad. He was just bad. And I agree. For the regular season, yeah, Kevin Durant was by far their best 3-point shooter. In that series, he was their worst 3-point shooter. So
Um, I see what Shaq and Chuck are saying, and I mean when you really look at it these days with superstars, it's kind of messed up. When they like if you don't get it done, your career is a failure. Like I mean honestly, if you want to look at it, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, till until he got to Miami, there. If you just want to put it like that, all of their careers were failures. You
But you
know,
know, my fault to cut you off. But the only difference between them and KD, though, they don't pursue themselves as the best player in the world. KD is pursuing himself as the best player in the world, and that's why I say it's more of a failure for him than it would be for those guys. Because at that time, let's be real, Jordan was just the GOAT that whole fucking decade. Like real talk. Like no matter how much shit I talk about Chicago, I would definitely give him the credit of throughout the
yeah,
whole damn '90s, Jordan was definitely running that shit. I would say
yeah.
that
Chicago ran the '90s. Go ahead,
they
Steve.
did. They did. I will admit that, and I hate to admit that, but I mean, it's just, but my point being is it's a different. You know what I'm saying? It's difference between the Karl Malones and the Stockton to compare to KD because like I said, KD is having he has a higher what's it called?
Ceiling.
Yes, than they did because of the fact of the people that's around him that keep saying, "Oh yeah, bro, you the best, you the go to this, you got all this." You know what I'm saying? But to them, it was just like, "Hey, all we got to do is just try to beat Jordan one time, man." But it just it just didn't happen. Like it's just, but my fault. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
No,
just
no,
felt
no.
like
I was
just
just saying it's bad that like hypothetically, right? If you really want to look at it, Allen Iverson got to one finals. He not a failure. He just couldn't get it done by himself. He needed. I wouldn't say. I mean, he needed more around him, but also would he have been open to more? Like a LeBron or playing with a Kobe. Like, yeah, now that you could say like now, yeah, me and Kobe would have dominated. But would that shit have really worked? Because y'all are both two ball dominant guards. Both of you, Allen Iverson was really just a smaller two guard.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah, you say that now, but in y'all heyday, would that shit have really worked? I think, Chris Paul, you can look at him and say he's a failure. Um, he only been to one. He hasn't never won. Melo, I can go on for days. Russ, uh, I mean, shit. If you want to really think about it, Kyrie has been a failure by himself.
that's facts.
I mean, just let's just be honest about it. But I think Kevin Durant, him and Kawhi are seeing now like this shit is rough. When you the guy, you gotta make all these decisions. Yeah, LeBron makes it look easy, but at the same time, LeBron has to. I think LeBron covers up a lot of defects. So yeah, it's like, all right, well, yeah, he was nice. It's like, no, LeBron was just getting him in the right position. And I think, people like Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard, you want those accolades, but you're not ready for the pressure that comes with it.
I think that's a great point.
So, like Kevin Durant, yes, he has won in Golden State, but he hasn't won by himself. He hasn't won constructing a whole team. And
Mm,
if you really think about it, LeBron been doing it for 20 years. Since he was able to get that cachet. And it has worked for him. And, I think, KD and Kawhi was in over their head when it was like, I could do that. The Clippers, they made it to the Western Conference and he wasn't even playing.
yeah, that's tough.
So it's like, hindsight 2020, you're a failure too. And even with Toronto, that team was pretty much already put together. They just were one piece away.
That's
You
one.
take
It
you
had a
take out DeRozan and put him in there, and a lot of things had to go right, but they won the championship. So I think a lot of times with these players, yeah, you want that LeBron power, but you also, LeBron covers a lot of that shit up.
You do.
Like, yeah, we ain't good defensively, but I average 5 block shots a game. It is what it is. So yeah, I mean, KD trying to do it by himself, it has become a failure.
Yep.
I'll, I'll say, yeah, compared to the rest of the NBA, sure, 95% of the NBA, he is not a failure. Like, he's got 2 Finals MVPs. How many other players can say that, right? In history.
Yeah.
But back, like you said about Carmelo, a lot of people would consider his career a failure, and that's what it has to do with how you came into the league, right? When
But
Steph,
I also wonder with that, like say Melo won in Denver,
But do you all
Iverson won in Philly. Would they be a failure? Although you only got one in 16, 17 years, are you still considered a failure?
but
no
that's what I
because
think it has to do with how you came into the league, right? When Melo and KD came into the league, it was like 3 championships minimum, 3, maybe 6. When Kawhi and Steph came into the league, it was like they're nice. So when they go out and win 2, 3, 4 championships, it's like, oh dang, they're successes. So I understand, like, there's that, like, you know what I mean? Some guys come in to the league with a certain thing attached to them.
I mean,
But Kevin Durant had the
they came
talent,
into the league with hype. Hype. It was
right?
hype. Yeah.
But Kevin Durant came into the league with the talent to be top 10 all time.
Yes.
Like Melo came in the league to be like Charles Barkley or better, whatever. Kevin Durant came in with the talent to replace LeBron and Larry Bird as the greatest small forward of all time. Like that's the talent he has, and he still has today. So that's why why failure is attached to his name, is because this guy could have been the greatest small forward of all time and just didn't get it done.
because he's a great Robin. He's not a Batman. That's why.
So,
He
all
can't
right,
get it
I
done.
got a question.
Needs help.
I got a
LeBron,
question then.
yes, go ahead.
If he's considered a failure, would Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen be considered failure? Because they didn't win where they were.
So yeah, a lot of people would consider like what they were able to
And
do.
technically, who was the bus driver for that team?
Yeah, a
Was
lot
it
of people would
Paul?
consider what they were able to do with those teams a failure.
I'm-
But again, I'm just saying they didn't come in with
No,
he is undeniably top 10 all time if he has that talent. Like none of those
no,
guys came
I'm
in
just
with that.
saying. I'm just saying they couldn't succeed where they were, and they essentially came together with Paul Pierce, almost like Kevin Durant did with Golden State, and they reaped the benefits. So, are
I'll
they
say
considered failures?
I'll say to Walt's point, he is the greatest Robin of all time. I'll give him that.
Who?
He's the
Kevin
greatest.
Durant?
Kevin Durant is the greatest number 2 player you could ever have in NBA history.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. Well,
I mean, you could maybe go Pippen too, but
I was gonna say I wouldn't, because I mean, yes, he can score like nobody's business, but Pippen was doing everything else.
yeah, Pippen was
That's what
doing.
people don't realize. Like I talked to a lot of old heads here that were adults during those 90s. They was like Jordan. His main thing, Jordan was Kevin Durant. Just put the ball in the hole. He was like, but Pippen did everything else. He defended, facilitated.
Yeah, but
Uh,
Rodman and Jordan both defended and facilitated. Well, Rodman didn't
this is
facilitate,
look.
but
I'm just saying what they told me. I'm
yeah,
not gonna argue with a guy that was watching it live.
but that's what I'm
Yes, we
saying.
see the last dance, but none of us were there watching it live.
Imagine having Jordan, and then every time he just kicks out, if a triple team does come, and it's just Kevin Durant. I mean, I'm saying I'm taking that over Scotty.
Because they say honestly, if it wasn't for Pippen, they wouldn't have beat the Lakers that first year. They say because Magic Johnson was cooking Mike, and they say Phil Jackson made that switch, put Pippen on him, and he didn't shut down Magic Johnson, but
He
Magic
continued.
Johnson went from 25 and 25 to 25 and 50. it took him, you know. So I'm like, that matters.
Can,
That
can I just
matters.
can y'all just imagine if LeBron had the same setup as Jordan though, like having that great wingman
100%.
and then having a great coach? Man,
But if you think about it, he had it in a way. Kyrie just didn't want to be Batman. I mean, Robin.
Hey,
but
hey,
that's true though. That is true. But the only reason I found some tea out about that though, like about a few weeks ago, and I found out that Dan Gilbert didn't even offer Kyrie or whatever the contract or whatever that
I
he
can
wanted.
believe it.
And then that was kind of the reasons why Kyrie wanted to leave because of the fact of he felt like that. I feel like Dan Gilbert caused a lot of problems with that Cleveland team. I'm gonna be honest with you, but that's another topic for another day.
Hey, your Chicago duo though are getting further and further apart, man. And they're
Look, we ain't gonna talk about all that. No.
Because Marcus
Nope.
Michael's son was on a date with Scotty's
not
ex.
for this.
Oh, I heard about that. I heard about that too
We're
on the
strictly
radio.
on sports.
Okay,
We about the other kid too. What you mean?
No, that's a good
No,
point.
we're
We're only talking sports. All right, what's the next topic? We ain't talking about marital stuff. What's the next topic?
Marital. They say Tom Brady.
Oh, what? What? Come on, man. This is different.
They divorced. What are we talking about them for? Who cares?
How's this different?